Democracy and the free market go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other.
You've probably heard something like this before, right? Well, as it turns out, Friedrich Hayek, one of the founding fathers of free market neoliberalism, wasn't the biggest fan of democracy. He said, "I must frankly admit that if democracy is taken to mean government by the unrestrained will of the majority, I'm not a Democrat, and even regard such government as pernicious and in the long run unworkable." By unrestrained will of the majority, he meant any kind of democratic decision that would limit property rights. Like, he especially hated progressive taxation because it took money from the hard-working and talented elites and gave it to the undeserving poor. So what kind of government did he want? Well, let me read you another quote. "The lawmaking assembly would thus be composed of men and women between their 40th and 55th year, elected by their contemporaries after they had an opportunity to prove themselves in ordinary life, and required to leave their business concerns for an honorific position for the rest of their lives." I imagine that such a system of election is a sort of prize awarded to the most successful members of the class. Let me translate that for you. The laws of a country should exclusively be decided by a council of elders that got voted into office when they were between 40 and 55 years old, by voters of the same age range, and then they stay there until their death. And the people ending up in these positions are supposed to be the most successful members of the class, which for a neoliberal thinker means billionaire and millionaire investors or business people. You can imagine that with lawmakers like this, the interests of people who aren't rich or at least middle-aged don't really matter that much. So remember that for a lot of these neoliberal thinkers, democracy is mostly just a hurdle to the free market.